My name is Hope Wollensack. I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Resilience and Opportunity Fund, or the GROW Fund, and I'm the co-director of the In Her Hands Guaranteed Income Initiative. So this program is the result of a community-driven task force that convened in 2020 that looked at the root causes of economic insecurity in our city, in particular the Old Fourth Ward neighborhood, which is where King was born and faces deep inequality today. Our program is a guaranteed income program primarily focused on Black women, with the understanding of they're one of the groups experiencing some of the most acute and sharpest impacts of economic insecurity that exists for many different groups. So the name of the program, which is an ode to Dr. Martin Luther King's quote, "The dignity of the individual will flourish when matters concerning his life are in his hands." So in her hands is where the focus came from. So we do view this as a pilot program developed by community members, and we're very excited. This is a large program, one of the largest in the country, certainly the largest focusing on Black women, and certainly the largest in the South, and yet it is still not enough. And especially when we look at the scope and scale of the problem.
My name is Sarah Moran, and I am the U.S. Country Director at GiveDirectly. We are meaningfully and intentionally targeting Black women, I think both to better understand what the effects would be on communities and their families, and also because the systemic inequality that we see is so entrenched and persistent. We are curious to understand whether a very targeted guaranteed income can catalyze something different outcomes for Black women.
Each recipient will receive an average of $850 a month for 24 months for a total transfer of $20,400. If $850 a month is compelling enough against labor market wages that people no longer incentivized to work, I think that's more of an indictment on the current wages to the cost of living than it is about our program and to the extreme sort of economic insecurity folks are facing. Cash transfers is one of the most studied anti-poverty interventions globally. There's over 300 studies. GiveDirectly has led many of them, and it simply shows that it improves a host of outcomes, and it really doesn't de-incentivize work very much. What we're reconciling with right now is more about stagnant wages and skyrocketing cost of living than it is about a social safety net in which people can provide for their basic material needs in order to survive for them and their families. If large swaths of Americans have to live in poverty so that inflation stays below 2%, then something fundamentally about our economy isn't working. And I think that's the question we should be asking.
Empirically, there is just no evidence that cash transfer programs discourage work. And I'm pulling up an abstract that did an analysis of 7 different government-run cash transfer programs in 6 developing countries around the world and found no systematic evidence that cash transfer programs discourage work.
This program is unconditional because it enables choice, it fosters trust, and it really trusts people to make the best choices for themselves and their families. We really think it's important that folks have the choice and agency to make decisions about their lives and what they need when some of these features are added around conditionality, or that it may be giving a in-kind benefit versus a sort of a direct financial assistance benefit or a direct cash benefit. It just doesn't really meet people's needs, and it doesn't trust them to make the best choices for their lives. And it can create oftentimes exclusion by design.
Our national social safety net is predicated on the idea that poverty is a personal choice and not structural and not a policy choice. And the result of that are systems and policies that take choice and agency out of people's hands and inherently do so in a way that is based in the fact that we don't trust people who are living in poverty in the United States. That is the way our social safety net is built. And we're trying to flip the script on that. We do trust that people living in poverty know what they need. And that's why we've designed this project the way we have.
Guaranteed income or similar type programs can have the power to produce racially equitable and gender equitable outcomes, but that is not inevitable. In fact, there are many programs that often seek to sort of remedy or to improve some of these racial and gender outcomes, and actually they can re-entrench them. And so this is why it's so important to us that we're listening to those who are closest to the problem. Those on the margins have the widest view of the world. We can't afford the cost of inaction anymore. The problem continues to get worse. It will not remedy itself, and it will not remedy itself with the same solutions we keep trying over and over and over again. And so we do hope that this program will influence city, state, federal policy in a number of different ways. And we realize while we're both excited by the scope and scale of this project, we know it is still not enough.